Chris Popper here in Bangor. I'm joined by Coach Mark Shields, the head football coach from the MDI Trojans down in Bar Harbor. And Coach, bruised, battered, and beaten. And we're not talking about the Trojans. We're talking about you. You were sick yesterday. Holy.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember Matt Haney. Hopefully, he's not listening, my principal, but I don't remember a time I've actually taken a sick day because I'm sick, right? I mean, you
Right.
got to save those for fun things. But yeah, no, yeah, I had to take yesterday off. As we said in the last show, my wife, she only shares illness with me, and she shared her illness, and mine seemed to be a lot worse, of course.
And then,
And
and then she left you to go to the Bruins game.
Sure, sure. No, that's kind of nurse she is. She's like, well, I'm sorry you feel bad, but I got to go to the Bruins for work, and I'll see you on Friday. So suck it up there, Buttercup.
Buttercup, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they get,
Exactly.
yeah. So anyway, I'm on some good drugs, and I
Well,
think we're turning a corner here. So that's good.
hopefully it's going to help your play calling is what I want to say.
I doubt it, honestly. Well, honestly, it probably couldn't be worse. So what the heck?
All right. So tomorrow, we're taping this on Friday. Saturday afternoon will be the last regular season game of the season, and down in Waterville, which is never really a fun place to play.
I was thinking about this. I have been playing Waterville, as in Mark Shields, since seventh grade, I believe.
When you were in
Because
high school, you were down in Skowhegan. You played
yep,
Waterville.
I grew up in the Skowhegan system, and our middle school teams always played Waterville, and then all the way through high school. So that was Class A back in the day, 11
Right.
man Class A. Um, Played them all through high school. I played them in a couple playoff games in high school, and then became the head coach down here. And sure enough, we've been playing Waterville now. What, since since 2006 when you took over?
Right.
Does that sound right? I think Andrew
Oh
Isaacs'
yeah.
team. That was our playoff game, I believe. That year you took over, we went to Waterville, and it was a hard fought game. I think we lost maybe 14-6. But yeah, been going there for a long time, and you're right. It's never an easy place to get a victory. There were some amazing coaches back then. Coach Frank Knight was the legendary coach back then, and then he continued on through when I became a coach. So he'd been there forever, and now Coach Isaac LeBlanc, is the head coach down there for 8-man, and he's doing a great job. They went to back-to-back Northern Maine championships here the last 2 or 3 years, and yeah, they do a great job. Their kids play hard, very well coached, a lot of tradition down there, and yeah, it's gonna be a tough place to go and try to get a win.
Well, they are winless, and this is their playoff game to knock off the Trojans. And of course, on Senior Day, there's even more of a desire to end the season with a W.
Absolutely, they have nothing to lose. They've had a tough season with injury, much like us. They're a younger squad coming into the season, so they knew there could be some, bumps along the way. But uh, you look at tape, and the kids play hard, and they do a really nice job down there. Their coaching staff scheming up their offense and their defense based off the personnel that they have. They're not such that they're going to run a certain scheme every year. They look at their personnel, and they look at the strengths and weaknesses, and then they come up with a scheme. And their scheme this year has changed throughout the year because they have had some injuries. So you look at them, and we look at tape every Monday with our varsity, and I think coming in, the kids thought, well, they haven't won a game, and then they started looking at tape and thought, oh, yeah, these guys are pretty good. They do it. They play hard. They got some big kids, and they're smart about what they do. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
What how is the injuries? I mean, Dan Vibert he's got to get in a larger room next year. I mean, because there's so many football players in getting treatment. Getting anyone back, or where are we going with that?
Yeah, we're going to get some guys back. Not as many as we hoped. and we lost a couple guys. So there's one guy on defense that we lost, a starter at linebacker, and then we had a guy tweak his ankle last night in practice. So we'll see. Honestly, it's so day to day this year. I've never had a season like this before. But that's life in football, and Waterville's dealing with the same thing, and a lot of teams are right now. Everyone's trying to get healthy by the end of the season and hope that they can get into the playoffs and try to make a run. But we were very fortunate last year that we really didn't deal with a lot of injury, and that's really key. Late in the season and getting into the playoffs, if you can stay fairly healthy, that gives you such an advantage. So we'll see. We have another practice tonight, so who knows? Someone else could get hurt tonight.
You got to bubble wrap these kids. I mean, holy, right? I mean, it's when your injury list is 30 players, day to day, it's a tough season.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some people, wonder, will we ever go back to 11 man? And there are times, we think about it. And then this year, we would have never survived the 11-man season. We just wouldn't have gotten through it. I mean, you can't put kids on the field that are too young, not physically ready for a varsity schedule. And it becomes a safety issue. You don't have the numbers for a JV program. So I'm very fortunate that we're right in 8-man football.
And that's one of those things is that, okay, you think, not you or I, but a typical fan might think, well, okay, a ninth grader, he made the varsity team. Very rare do you see a freshman getting um, substantial play time in varsity. I mean, the learning curve is just so great. And the difference between a 12th grader and a ninth grader physically is just so large, is that, you, like you said, you can't put someone out there and to fill a spot and hope that they don't get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think about my coaching career. I mean, I'm on year 28, 29. And there haven't been, like you said, many freshmen that we have suited up and started or even put in as a substitute in a varsity game. I mean, we've had some, and we've had a couple this year
Right.
be able to do it. I mean, Kenneth Stillwell, he's a Trenton kid. He's a big, strong kid. But most of the time, you're right. Ninth grade,
Lincoln Gray last year. I mean,
Lincoln Gray last year was another one. I've had some over the years, but very, very few are physically ready for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I mean, this is a grind. It's football is a 4-year sport, and you're hoping that, okay, everybody got seasoning this year, and that next year will be better.
Right.
So what have you worked on this week during practice?
Yeah, so it's been nice, honestly, to have a Saturday week. I always said, as a player, I hated Saturday games because I meant an extra day of practice. But as a coach, you kind of like it because you do get that extra day to prepare. We've actually been getting off the practice field a little earlier this week, which has been nice to try to rest guys. Uh, just trying to get better at what we're doing. We don't change a lot offensively. Sometimes we'll change our schemes from week to week. But overall, we're pretty consistent, and we're just trying to get better and better at those positions and develop the kids, in their individual position. And of course, special teams. We practice special teams every day. That's what we start out with after warm-ups and try to get better at those. And we're just hoping we can continue to improve as a football team. It's been a tough stretch. We've lost 3 straight games, which nobody's pleased about.
Right.
And we have to respond from that if we're going to be able to get ourselves in the playoffs. So we'll see how we do Saturday.
All right. Well, hopefully, we'll definitely talk next week. I think a win and you're in the playoffs, and maybe even regardless. But you want to go out with a win and go from there. And So the game's Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Um, I know I told you that the press box has been condemned, and that'll be an interesting. At least the weather looks like it's going to cooperate, so that's a good thing. And we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Right. Yeah. It'll be interesting without that press box. That's, fortunately, you're right. It's not going to be pouring rain, I don't think, down in Waterville tomorrow at 1 o'clock. But
No.
um, you might have to bring a hat, Chris.
Well, yeah, exactly for my head. But yeah, I mean, we've done some real cold days. I remember there's a picture of Liz Graves and I up on the press box with just, I think, 5 layers on, and it was like every play that I called, there was a sniff of my nose in between because it was just wasn't a great broadcast, but yeah, it's a Waterville week, and that's what we know what happens late in the season.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow. I hope you feel better. Take your medicine when you're supposed to, and hopefully Holly will bring you home some chicken soup tonight, and we'll see you down the field tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, sounds good, Chris. I think she's supposed to come home tonight, but who knows? She might find something better to do.
All
Thanks.
right, thanks.